Hey, welcome to episode 40, 41. Not quite sure. Doesn't matter. We're here. Welcome to this episode of the Bad Batch podcast. Whether you've seen one Star Wars film or mastered all content of the Star Wars universe, this podcast is for you. But it's kind of weird saying that since we are not going to be talking about Star Wars today. We will be talking about the whole series review of What If ... question mark. So yeah, we have a special guest on, Michael C. Jensen.
Hi.
Making his return.
He has returned. He was here a couple of months ago for a comics review where Drew, BJ, and myself didn't say a word the whole time. It was a great episode. But also, I'm here, Justin Samoy, and I'm also with Drew Crispo.
Hello.
And BJ Davis.
Hey, guys.
Yes, so we are very excited. So, and again, just like last week, we're going to do another tier list like we did with Visions. And I guess you could say this is the Marvel's way of Visions, or like, this kind of like standalone series that's like a part of it, but I don't know completely if it's canon or not. But TBD. So do you guys have any like first impressions before we just dive right into the first episode?
Go BJ, go ahead.
I really liked I wouldn't say really liked it, but I liked it. I didn't hate it. It was good.
I overall just thought it was like fun. I mean, it didn't have any it wasn't super important. Like if you didn't watch it, I don't think it's I wouldn't say it's a must watch, but I definitely enjoyed it, for just it being its own thing.
I'll go last. You can go ahead, Justin.
I was just gonna say, since it is a what if scenario, there's not like real stakes to the sacred timeline or what is viewed as the MCU. I guess might change with the new Spider-Man and the Multiverse of Madness for Doctor Strange and Wanda's whole deal. So, and Loki, there's just been a lot of multiverse talk. So maybe these things can come to fruition in the end or later on. But as of right now, wasn't didn't really care for the character, or not that I didn't care for the characters, but didn't care what happened to them because it's not real. And that's how I felt about the whole.
It's not our universe.
Yeah, not our universe.
Yeah, I was not a fan of mostly the entire series. It's obviously really cool to see all these characters kind of in a different light. And it's fun when you take just the concepts, but I didn't really enjoy the delivery or the tone of a lot of really just the main series. I really was not a fan of the animation. I really enjoy for example DC animated television shows or movies. They have out of this world animation. And I guess when I saw the animation that What If would be using, I was bit of a 3D sort of thing. I was oh man, I just don't really like that style. And also I don't really, for me personally, I don't feel it hit. They were doing a lot of different more mature things killing off A, B, and C, and visiting different topics that where a character isn't covered by plot armor. So they dove into murder and death and stuff. But then at the same time, it also felt like something I would see on Disney Plus, for kids. It just didn't really hit. I didn't understand the tone that they were really trying to consistently push. So it was a bit of a miss for me.
Yeah, definitely varied between episodes, the tone, because one of the later episodes, the Thor episode, was pretty much a comedy episode, kind of. Whereas there was
they did kind of have a problem with finding an identity as a show at once. Obviously it's supposed to be a bunch of different things, but having a driving line going through is important. I see exactly what you guys are saying. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but what's crazy,
with that.
I would have been fine if each episode had its own tone, which a lot of them do. But they also all tie together at the end. Spoiler alert, just in case. There's it's not a true linear series, but the last episode kind of ties everything together. And the end of each episode has little hints. You're what is going on here? But yeah, also into the animation, it's trying to be Spider-Verse a little bit. but like way more cartoony and less like,
Yeah.
it didn't feel like a comic.
Yeah, I'll agree. Like DC does definitely do a better job with animated stuff than Marvel, and it always kind of has. But I like the tone. I was fine with the scary. I was fine with the fun. It was enjoyable. I'm thinking, what didn't I really like about it? It was just, other than the fact that they like missed an episode.
Yeah, that was
weird.
weird.
That was
Yeah.
super weird.
Do we
That's
know
probably-
why that was? Like,
And what
has
episode
that
was
story
it?
come out yet? The Gamora and Tony Stark one, where Tony goes to wherever like Thor goes in
car?
Ragnarok. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
but they just like
Yeah.
they used that at the end, and then like everybody knew that that episode wasn't in there. It just like didn't make any sense. Like,
I just thought I missed an episode. I was like, oh, I just missed that. Whatever.
I saw an explanation. I don't remember what it was, but like, I'm trying to. I don't want to say exactly because I don't remember, but it was something like there was some sort of conflict where maybe they were saying like releasing the episode or something that happens in the episode would have been in poor taste and or like goes against some weird plot. Like, I think they're saving it for the next season. I believe I saw.
okay.
But like again, like there was some sort of weird reason that like, oh, we don't really think that'd be appropriate to put into season 1. We'll just wait for season 2. I don't remember what it was, but like it was kind of a weird
Yeah,
explanation nonetheless.
because then it's like, why even keep that aspect of it in? Because like there were parts of that aspect that were like kind of important for the finale, so it was just like very oddly like placed like that.
But yeah, just another reason why it's a bad series, right, BJ?
In Mike's
that was the only thing I disliked personally. Well, I don't know, not the only thing, but it was one of the things.
Yeah, maybe we'll uncover some things we liked a lot or didn't like as we go through the series. But just in case you're still listening and you haven't seen What If for some reason, you heard us talk this much. What If is the series where there's a watcher, like the Watchers of the Universe. He's like, what if someone did this? And that's what the whole episode is about. He narrates it, and I forget the guy's name, but he's in Westworld.
Bernard.
In Westworld.
Mm-hmm. And he plays the very smart guy in Hunger Games Catching Fire. Well, that one. So
yes, the smart guy.
yeah. So yeah, we'll go with the first episode, and this one was, what if Captain Carter were the first Avenger? So in this scenario, instead of Steve Rogers, who takes the super soldier serum, it is Peggy Carter. So yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoy like Captain America as a whole, like just not even like necessarily Steve Rogers, but like even when in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where they made I kind of forgot his name, but they had the new Captain America and Bucky's Captain America. Like, I love the mantle of Captain America, so I really enjoyed this episode because Captain Carter was really cool, honestly. Like for a lot of this stuff, like I felt like it was a bit lackluster for like the What If, like Killmonger, I didn't really enjoy that much. But like I felt like Captain Carter was really cool because like I don't know, Captain America and like is just kind of a interesting character to me, just like picking up a super soldier serum. So it was really cool to like see how she would do it, like with a sword and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like you were saying, like isn't that a thing that like carries on throughout the whole like story of Captain America? Is like it's always being like the mantle of it's always being passed around, like you were saying. So it's just like this was probably like one of the more like closer ones to something that you could actually see like happening.
Yeah, definitely. It makes sense. I mean, also like it wasn't like in some of the episodes, like whatever causes the alternate universe is so like obscure and like large, it almost doesn't make sense. But this one actually made sense. Like literally just if she's asked to leave the room and she's like, I'm gonna stay here. That is something, an alternate universe that kind of makes sense to me. And so like this is something that I was talking about a little bit earlier, and I'll state it again, is like a lot of the episodes, like they didn't really feel like they had weight to it, because like you already know what happens. This isn't really going to be in the MCU and yada yada. But this one was kind of still fun to watch. I was really, really hoping for Winter Soldier Steve Rogers.
Hmm.
And
that would have been interesting.
yeah, I don't like they left off with like a who knows where Steve Rogers is right now.
Yeah.
But I think if they don't do that, I'm done with What If. I can't, because that is I'm not even kidding. Like if all of What If is about like Winter Soldier, Steve Rogers, I'd watch it. Like it's just a really cool concept.
Is
'Cause I
that
feel
like
like
comic that happens in the comic? Is that like a story run that ever happened?
not that I know of. Like the closest thing is Nomad, but that's not even it's not that close. But I mean, yeah, they take Steve Rogers and the Winter Soldier, like they're just two opposites, and so to go into like an alternate universe where like he's the same guy, that's something I'd really be interested in. I mean, like take like when we saw like not Civil War, what was it, like Captain America,
Winter
where they
Soldier.
first, oh yeah, just Winter Soldier, like that. Like, could you imagine the tension where instead of like they're just best friends for that whole thing, like they're in love, like that's just like so much more interesting to me. So I really want to see more of that.
Boo. There's so many love stories. There's not enough like best friend stories and like friend breakups and friend hardships.
That was all of Falcon Winter Soldier.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying like
Did you not see the boat building scene?
I mean, that was good, but I'm not saying like that there's no best friend moments in the series, or like I'm just saying like in general and like storytelling. There's a lot of love stories, and there's like buddy comedies and stuff like that. But it's not the same. And
All
so
I said was it would make
no,
it
you're wrong.
the tension higher. Oh, it's funny because you're wearing a pink shirt, so look who's wrong.
Okay, anyways, so that first episode, I really enjoyed seeing what they did with Steve, and they put him in that suit.
Mhm.
I thought that was cool. Yeah.
Type thing.
And then I also liked, it was later in the series, but I liked how her and Black Widow were like sort of like a spear and swords, or spear and shields sort of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I enjoyed that episode. I know I talked to some of my other friends and they just don't like Captain Carter at all. It's like, I thought it was great.
Yeah, people are sus. Whatever.
Do you
Alright,
think
so
it was a good way to like kick off the series, like as a first episode? Do you think that was like a good way to like get everybody interested in it right off the bat? Or do you think
Actually,
we should
I
start
don't.
with a different episode?
I don't. That was the first thing that I thought when I watched it. I was like, this is the episode they're picking to kick it off. Because I didn't like not. I liked it, but I just like looking at the episodes like right here.
I thought it was good because she's the first Avenger and it's showing the first like thing, you know.
Yeah, that's
Multiversal Avenger.
I just think you'd want to kick it off with a more like critical character. Not that she's not, but like someone who's been in the past 10 years.
I think if I were to start the series on my own, to really set the tone for how multiversal this whole series would be, I would have picked the Doctor Strange episode.
Oh, that's a good one.
I could see that too.
Because then at that point you're just showing like this is what the Watcher can do. Like when it comes to interaction, like people can see him if they have a certain level of power. These are like these breakpoints in universe. It explains a lot, and also sets the tone. Like, so if we did Captain Carter as episode number 2, I think that would have been perfect. But starting with Doctor Strange, who, in my opinion, is the coolest character from this series, I think it would have been smart to do that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Drew. But I also think that I liked how the Watcher was. He was very in the background and then came more out of the background throughout the series. You know, I like that. And that first episode was just, or the time you got to the Doctor Strange, he was basically talking to Doctor Strange. So I don't know. I like that build up from it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I can see why they did Captain Carter first. Like, kind of going back to something that you brought, Mike, earlier, where you're like, that's kind of like the most believable way to that it would happen. Like, she doesn't leave the room and stuff. I think they probably did it because, like, as a concept to like sell the pitch to the audience, it's probably the easiest way to, because all the other things like you're saying are like such little minute little things that happen, and like as a concept, the show maybe you're like, I don't know if I like this show because you don't know what's going on or whatever for like the most of the audience.
Yeah, I also think this question makes sense. Like some of the episodes, I was like, this is never a what if scenario that would have ever crossed my mind. Not that I thought of each of these 9 episodes. I'm like, what if this happened? But like, what if she was the first Avenger? Like, would come up eventually, but I would never be like, what if Killmonger was the one who killed Tony Stark?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one seems so random.
So let's hear this up. And if you're looking at my tabs, yes, I have a Halloween party. Yes, got movie tickets. Yes, I was looking at iOS 15. And what if? All right. Captain Carter, where do you like it? Obviously, Mike, this is your first tier list, and D is the worst. I know you were thinking the other way around, but S is the best. So we have to all come to an agreement here.
Personally, if I were to rate it, like, I would go with a B. It wasn't the best. It wasn't, and it by far definitely wasn't the worst. It gave a good tone for what's to come. I was going to give it an A, but something I just didn't really enjoy about this was that it was just the Captain America movie in like 30 minutes. I've seen it all. I know what's going to happen. The ending was like a little bit different, but like I was never guessing what was going to happen. And just because of that, I would probably just give it a B.
That's actually a good point. It really was.
Yeah, it was mostly almost the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I think B is good.
All right. Yeah, we can move this around also later. So yeah, let's move on to episode 2 then, which is what if T'Challa became Star-Lord? And I remember when this episode, like when I was looking at it when I was about to air, I was like, dude, what? Like this is so silly. Like I don't think I'm gonna like this episode. This episode was actually, I really liked it. I liked all like it was, I don't know if like most creative is the right word, but it had a lot of like characters in it and that you just wouldn't think. So I was like, this is the most fun that they're having with it, like Thanos being part of the squad. And he's like, yeah, T'Challa talked me out of it. And like the meme that came after this, where like Star-Lord was like, you know, aren't I like the best in the team? And then someone was like, you're not even the best Star-Lord because T'Challa was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it really showed how T'Challa is just so liked as a character. Like just his character in the whole MCU, they just kind of like him, and he was just a likable person, and he was so likable. He talked Thanos out of getting all the Infinity Stones, and he's and instead of being like the original Star-Lord, who's what to say about him, not as good. Like he just goes and steals stuff, whatever. But T'Challa's like, I really want to just make a difference, and I'll use this power that I have to do that.
I like this episode. I thought it was really cool my favorite thing about it was Thanos. I'm sure that's a lot of other people's favorite. Yeah. And they powered him down like crazy, which I thought was just like funny.
I thought that was funny too.
Like he was getting his butt kicked by the Black Order, and like the whole time I was watching, I was like, that makes no sense, but it also doesn't matter at all because it's just a whatever. It's a what if. So it was really funny to see him like having a drink and like talking when like, you know, when we saw him in Infinity War or the Infinity Saga, it was like obviously end all be all sort of character. And even in the comic books, like he's just like so associated with like death. He's like the most
literally in love with death.
Yeah. He like
his
the stuff that he does
are so different in the comics. It's just like I want half of them at least.
He's like, I could go into how like brutal Thanos is. Like it's crazy. So to see him, you know, like I think a couple of weeks before I saw that episode, I saw him like literally rip Iron Man in half in a comic panel. And then the next one, he's like drinking the Star Lord, and so like from my perspective, it was like really funny to see them do that. So I really like this episode.
Yeah, I thought that this one too, like, because like we were saying with Captain Carter, it was so like almost by the book of like the Captain America movie and like how similar it was. This was kind of like the first one where like it started like throwing funny things out there, and you're like, oh my god, there's that like Nebula in it, and like
Yeah, Nebula with hair was great.
Yeah,
just seeing all it was like the first moments we were going like, oh damn, they're doing that, or like just stuff like that, which they continued through like different episodes. I thought that was like definitely pretty funny and cool.
I loved the Star Lord and Nebula dynamic, the
Yeah.
cha-cha.
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, like Nebula too, like with the relationship that she had with her and Thanos, like because she only had one modification that Thanos had gotten to her, and like she was like hiding her face this whole time, and so like I thought it was really cool to see like what would happen if she wasn't like this cyborg. She would just be a normal, cool alien. Not that she wasn't cool before. But yeah, I loved Nebula in this episode. I would say I like that just as much as I like Thanos.
Also the very end when Thanos is talking with what's her name? They were in Wakanda and they were talking, and she's like, that sounds a lot like genocide.
Yeah,
like, no, it's random. That was so funny. I love that.
Yeah, Captain Genocide.
This episode did a good job of like, just all and like actually get involved with the story.
Yeah, it was
also not his last performance, but Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah,
you get that he's in it playing, himself. So it's nice. So
yeah, it's sad.
He gave an incredible, like something that I think stood out a lot about him and playing T'Challa was that like not everybody came back to do or came over to the series to do their voice acting, and like I think he just like not only did he hit it out of the park, but like just that he came back and did this I thought was really cool. Like I don't know what the plans are for season 2, but I know it's gonna suck when we hear somebody else voicing him if they continue to have the character in season 2, because they could do anything they wanted with all these multiverses, but like it's gonna be pretty lackluster hearing another voice for T'Challa.
Yeah, I actually saw something that apparently like because a lot of people on Marvel like and Disney weren't aware, well like a lot of people were that he was sick. And that's why he was like really going for this role. And apparently they were going to like develop a like T'Challa what if like spin-off show, like an animated show. And they were like gonna do that. And I don't know, that definitely sucks. But like he had a ton of screen time in this whole throughout like many different episodes. And it was like you were saying, like just killed it. Like really, really went for it.
Yeah, that's something also if we want at the end to talk about, like all the upcoming ideas or possibilities of series, because that's something I didn't even think about when we were first talking before the episode, was like there's a couple of different possible spin-offs in the works. Maybe we can talk about that later, but yeah, like all in all, I thought this episode was really good. It was very fun. Like I keep using Killmonger as an episode that I will didn't really enjoy. It was just because like I didn't really feel like it had a point that I was following. But this was like it had a clear story. It was fun the entire ride, and they brought so many different like characters into it. And I think it doesn't really get better than that. I would put this on an A, to be honest.
Cool. Yeah, I was thinking we A it. Maybe we'll move up. Maybe we'll move down as we go along. But we feel good with A for right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're gonna move to episode 3. Also, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. We'll continue to say that throughout. But yeah, episode 3, which is what if the world lost its mightiest heroes. Now this episode was cool. This one I was like, it was like kind of horror movie like, but like
it was definitely like a murder mystery.
Yeah. I liked this one a lot. And So if you didn't see this episode, Nick Fury struggles to launch the Avengers when his candidates, the original 6, are targeted by a serial killer. And this episode was good because we get to like see all the 6 Avengers back in this little episode, and but you never actually see it happen. So you see Iron Man die in Iron Man 2 when he's at the donut shop. Where's the Iron Man 1? I think it's Iron Man
1.
2. Okay, whatever it is, at the donut shop, you see him die there. And then you see, I forget how you see Captain America die, but the Incredible Hulk, you actually see Mark Ruffalo's Hulk in the Incredible Hulk's like movie at his facility. That's at like, I think it's at UVA or like the UVA equivalent. And
They're in like Manassas.
Wow.
Of the MCU. So yeah, that was cool seeing Mark Ruffalo there. And dude, like when he died, I actually audibly gasped. His like head exploded and there was green all over.
His
I
whole
was like,
body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like that was crazy. And then
Hawkeye killed Thor. I was like, that's just not believable, even if he didn't mean to do it.
Yeah. It
That was the only part I was like,
yeah, it didn't really, that one didn't make much sense, to be honest. But
yeah,
I
Thor
feel
dying like
lot,
that just didn't. Yeah,
a lot of this stuff, like there was a lot of moments where like you just have to be like, okay, that's what happens. Like, don't think about it too much. Like I remember when, like we were just talking about how they powered down Thanos. After that episode aired, like everyone, I saw a lot of comments on like Instagram and a whole bunch of stuff and Reddit. Everyone was just like, oh, they powered down Thanos. He would never lose to the Black Order, even if he didn't have the stones, which is true. But also it's like, this is for fun.
Mhm.
What, like, who cares? Like, it's just the point of telling a story. Like when Vision beat Thanos.
Yeah.
I don't care about how or why. It just, this is what happens. Leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I just took it as because he wasn't, his dad stripped his powers, couldn't pick up Mjolnir. Like that, he was just, skin was a little bit more vulnerable in this universe. And I was,
I was thinking like he just didn't have that motivation that he did. So he's just not as motivated, so he's not as strong, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's easy for me to look past that.
Like it's funny because like the overall like villain aspect of it was like I didn't know, I didn't see that coming, but then when they had like Michael Douglas's voice, I was like dying laughing. But it was also very like it was just something I never thought of in my mind to be like, oh, what if like Ant-Man and like that whole thing was like a villain, you know?
Yeah, he'd be a good villain. I mean, he killed all the Avengers. He did it like in a pretty cool way. But another thing I just want to bring up about this episode, and that they do throughout the series, Loki is only a bad guy or like a anti-hero, anti-villain, whatever, because he's brothers with Thor. Because everything else that, or even in this one, he's his brother. But they're like, yeah, I'm here to, even though he sent Thor there, like kind of tricked him into being on Earth. He still like helps him out, takes out Ant-Man, whatever, gets the Tesseract, and like that's it. Like Thor is what makes Loki, and that's shown throughout the series. So we're anti-Thor here.
Is this the one where Loki's the president at the end of it?
What?
Is
No,
it
that's
that
in. No, that's in.
No, I thought.
Okay.
I thought at the end of this one.
There is at an end of one of these episodes, he's like
Oh, it might be this
takes
one. You
over
know, he's just a
everything.
good leader. You know, not evil.
It could have been the
Right.
President Thor universe.
Oh yeah,
Or President
yeah.
Loki universe.
I think like he would just, I don't remember anything about like President Loki, but I remember he would just like, all right, I'm gonna take over or something like that. Maybe there was an end.
I just can't remember like which one it was or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do we like this one?
B,
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah,
So
I was gonna
closer
say
to
like
B.
low B, high C.
Okay. So I like this episode, but I'll settle for this. So the next episode, and not arguably, just straight up the coolest hero in Marvel. What if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands? A grief-stricken Doctor Strange uses the Eye of Agamotto in a dangerous effort to change the past.
I like this one. It was kind of scary. The tone, not scary, but it was a darker tone. Even with the ones that just where everyone died, this one was darker.
Mhm.
I like the concept. I liked how they showed the interdimensional like beings that he absorbed, and I didn't know how they were gonna. I didn't really know where it was gonna go. Like he was just absorbing them, and I didn't know what the end of it was gonna be.
Mhm.
Yeah, I really liked something that like I think is a really cool upcoming like concept is magic. Obviously they've dove like recently into magic pretty heavily with all the new series like Loki and WandaVision.
And Shang-Chi.
Like,
That was good.
yeah, I actually haven't seen it. I know the end credit
Ooh,
scene and I know what happens and everything, but I haven't seen the actual movie.
Okay.
I
I'm not gonna
definitely
lie.
would.
You
I
have to
watched
see it. It's
I
so good.
I watched a YouTube video on it. Not even gonna lie, because I just like didn't want to bring myself to go to the theaters. I was like, I just gotta know what happens.
You gotta support local cinemas, Michael.
Huh?
You have to support local cinemas.
I am gonna see it. I just watched a YouTube video so I could see the end credit scene, so I know what's going on. But anyways, so they've been jumping into magic a lot, and I think that's for me one of the more interesting things that like the MCU can do. And so it was really cool, like with him going into the past and like learning all this insane magic, and they talked about the multiverse and like how magic can affect the multiverse. I thought it was just really cool, and also like I think the love story, like in Doctor Strange, like what's
Rachel McAdams.
Christine Palmer, like she was obviously important to Doctor Strange, but like I didn't feel like that was like a driving thing, which was not a problem. But like in this episode, like you really get to understand how much she means to Doctor Strange. I think it was a little bit like more exaggerated how much they love each other, because maybe I'm wrong, but like they don't really in the movies, like they're not like in love, like say Tony Stark and Pepper Potts. But it was really cool to see that relationship with, from my opinion, a kind of a little bit of a background character who should be a little bit more important. And so it was really cool to see like how much they love each other, and like what he was willing to do, obviously, to keep that relationship alive.
Just a
Yeah,
big love story guy.
I love the like the aspect of like Groundhog Day that they kind of brought into it and did this, like we're like, doing the spin of like every day is like the same kind of thing, but he just can't get it right, like no matter what he does. And then like an aspect of fate with that was, I just thought that was super cool because it puts like a limit on what you can do with that. Like some things are always going to happen. I just thought that was like a really unique like plot.
The absolute point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also really cool to see the Ancient One. That's a character that it makes sense that she died in the movie, but I just thought she was such a cool character. And so like any chance I get to see content with her all-knowingness is just cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Benedict Cumberbatch and Rachel McAdams both came back to voice their characters. That's
That was a voice. I don't think that like Doctor Strange, you better have Cumberbatch doing that, because like that is a hard sell if you don't have him on there.
And it's such an important character too to this whole thing. Like it would just be dumb if you didn't have it.
Like, did you see like back in like 2015 that Joaquin Phoenix was gonna maybe be Doctor Strange? And I just can't even imagine that now. Like it has to be Benedict Cumberbatch. He's so good.
Yeah, he's great. Like with the Tony Stark voice actor, nobody can convince me they're okay with that.
Well, actually,
that is.
I don't really even remember it.
It was just like it was him trying to do such an impression where it's like at that point, if you get cast like that, you have to like obviously be similar, but just like do your own version of the character. But he was like trying so hard to do it. Was, like it almost sounded like an SNL version of like Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah,
I'm not mad about it because there's no way you can afford Robert Downey Jr. right now.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't even think he would. Like even if they offered to pay him like crazy, like I'm pretty sure he's like completely done with Marvel, like on his career. Like I saw like
I think he should.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense, but I mean also it's like, can you give everybody in the world what they want, for God's sake? Like I just like Like, come on, like just do it. Like, what are you doing?
I support you, Robert. I know you're listening to this, so you can.
I don't support you. Come back.
I don't support you. You have to be Iron Man.
No, dance like a little monkey and do exactly what we say. All right, just be Iron Man and shut up.
Dude, if he does come back, he can come back in like 20 years. Like we need like some fresh faces to like take it all. I guess this is an animated show, so whatever. So where do we want to put this?
I think this is S.
High A or S?
This is S for me.
Let's make it first S tier. It is also the first episode to get a 9 rating out of the series, but we can go over that later on what they did.
It was very good.
Based on IMDb. So the next episode, which was actually surprisingly not controversial, but like a very divisive episode among audiences, which was What If Zombies? Now, I really like this episode. I know people just didn't really care what happened, or they thought that it kept jumping tones and that, like, why does this happen? And why does Tony Stark keep dying? So people are so mad about that. I don't understand.
When I saw the concept of this, like in all like the trailers and everything, I didn't think that I was really gonna like it that much. I was like, I wasn't very interested in it just because like I feel like the zombie thing has been like so outplayed in like everything, because there was that period of time where like everything was zombies all of the time in all of media.
Mhm.
But I think this was actually ended up being like one of my more favorite ones. Like what they did with like Spider-Man and like Paul Rudd and stuff, like there were just like tons of stuff in it where I was definitely a surprise for me, like how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I want to go last.
To hear what you think. Okay, fine.
I want to go last because I have a specific tie. I love zombies might be one of my favorite forms of media. Like whether it be like,
that's why I was excited to hear.
Whether it be like Call of Duty Nazi zombies or like The Walking Dead, or like I love it. And like the Marvel Zombies comic book series is like unmatched. So I want to be the last guy to talk because I can really go on about this.
Okay. I liked it. I liked how it was dark. I liked how it was that one was actually scary. I didn't like how they kind of jumped. Yeah, the jumping tones was weird. I know Spider-Man's supposed to always be positive and all this stuff, but take some hope away from him for like one multiverse.
They
like,
literally did take some hope away from him. Hope died saving Spider-Man. Yeah.
Oh wow. LOL. Yeah.
Literally, she becomes bigger. So
yeah. And then and then they go to Wakanda and Thanos, the zombie Thanos is there. So there was no hope in that universe. But yeah. I liked how dark it was, but again, it felt like there was this episode. I don't know if any of you guys seen Young Justice, where they have this training thing, and there's basically it's basically a what if like everyone died and the Young Justice was the only one left. But they weren't like really affected by people dying, and that's they just kind of moved on to the next one. I know they had to, but I wanted to see them break down and cry,
Yeah, like when who did Captain America infect? I don't even remember. Like
it was him versus Winter Soldier.
Yeah, and then like Winter Soldier came in and like somebody got infected. Like it was a girl.
Didn't Happy got
infected?
Yeah, no, I know who you're talking about. It was a lady.
Black Widow's sister, right? Oh, it was Sharon Carter. You're right. Yeah. Yeah, like when Sharon got infected, literally Bucky just like pushed her out of the way with no emotion on his face. And like these like people are like surviving the end of the world. Like he literally didn't even make an expression, which that's Winter Soldier, and like he killed Tony Stark's parents, so he's done worse. But like I was like, let's get some emotion, and they have like time constraints. I get it, but it was kind of, the tone was all over the place.
I saw people complain about Ant-Man making a joke. They're like, oh, he's too positive. I was like, dude, he's literally a talking head.
Yeah, actually, Paul Rudd was one of my favorite parts, and just one of my favorite people. So,
So this wasn't like my favorite episode by any means, but I thought it was fun. I thought it was cool, and zombie things are just good. I like the whole zombie trope.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Zombie Scarlet Witch was so cool to see.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
cool.
Eerie,
Mhm.
like the queen bee type thing.
And then
Right.
Vision like brought T'Challa to like feed him
Yeah.
to Scarlet Witch or what?
Yeah,
That was crazy.
that's
Basically, I
messed
love
up.
her.
Yeah.
This was like this episode. I thought like, because I read Marvel Zombies and it was really cool because like this was like the MCU version of that, because like the two are pretty different like, in the comic books. Like in the comic books, like they have basically like full consciousness. They know what they're doing, but they call it, I think they call it the hunger. So they know that they're eating people, but like they just can't stop and they kind of
That's
don't
even
care.
worse. That's even like more mind.
Yeah, it's like Spider-Man gets infected, right? And he fights it off for like a long time, and actually he goes into another universe, and he's like sees Mary Jane, and he's like he keeps his mask on, and he takes it off, and he's like worms. But it was really cool to see, like it wouldn't really make sense for them to do that in the MCU or anything related to the MCU, even a series, because that's too big of a
Mhm.
Yeah.
of a topic. Like if they actually knew what was going on, so I
Yeah,
really
that-
like that. Yeah, because if they knew what they're like, you could, if you made the Marvel Zombies the main villain of this whole series, I think that would have been just as interesting as Vision, Ultron Vision. There's a lot to do with that, but I understand why they went with Ultron Vision. But yeah, I loved this episode. It was I love zombies, and like to see like Tony Stark as a zombie was really cool. They got pretty gruesome with some of the stuff,
Yeah, they did.
which like I thought was awesome. Like when they cut Captain America in half,
Mhm.
and they said, you know, like this is the end of the line, and like just really cool. This is definitely one of my favorite episodes. I wish I had more time. This is like if this was an hour-long episode, I would love that.
B, low A.
I would say high
Said low.
B.
I would go A, but I'll vote with the group.
All right, we'll keep it here for now. We might move it. All right, this goes on to probably our favorite episode. What if Killmonger rescues Tony Stark? We can just like breeze through this one because dude, I'm like, I've had enough of like Iron Man and Tony Stark, and dude, like so much. Like people obsess over this. I don't understand. Like I get it that he did his thing, but he ended in such a cool way. Like, why would you want to like mess that up? Like he saved the universe.
Yeah.
And then but like the whole Killmonger saving him doesn't make sense. And Killmonger still has the same motives, get back to Wakanda at whatever it costs. So he like kills Tony Stark in the process.
Kills T'Challa.
Yeah. And then Ulysses Crane, and then I mean pretty much he just kills a lot of people to become the Black Panther.
That's a war.
Mhm.
Yeah, this was, I think, let me make sure I say this correctly. This was, yeah, for sure, definitely my least favorite episode. I wanted to look at the rest of the episodes, but all right, I don't want to say this is my least favorite episode again. This was my least favorite. Killmonger should not have been killed in the MCU. Let me just say that. Like he's a really cool villain.
Like his motives are cool, and Michael B. Jordan is sick. Like, yeah, I mean, I thought he was awesome.
But like just to see, like, it's literally just like Drew. I think Drew said it earlier. It's like it's the same motives, but just like a different method, and a bit of it, obviously a different end result. But I don't know, like I would have loved to see Killmonger be straight up just good. Like that would have been, I think, more interesting than like he's a villain, but he's a villain in this way. I would have loved to see like Black Panther gold aspects. Like I would have loved to see him just be straight up a good guy, but like maybe be a
like
little
more
bit
of an anti-hero.
Yeah, I feel like that would have made more sense because he's literally like, I know he's probably worked hard, but like Tony Stark is like supplying him with all these amazing opportunities for him to get back to Wakanda, and he's just taking it all the wrong way. I guess that's like his, you know, he's always a villain type vibe, but I would be interested to see him as the good.
Yeah, like it would have just like, if you look at it on a top level sort of concept thing. I think with the storyline that they went with, they did a good job at telling it, but I think they just could have picked a more interesting story with Killmonger being a straight up good guy, and like maybe even just straight up make Tony Stark a bad guy. Like if we're doing what ifs, like let's at least bend the characters, you know?
That is fun.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
Yeah, like make instead of like him being Iron Man, he could have been Ironmonger, and just like gone through that. Like there's more interesting concepts to say. What if Tony Stark and Killmonger, were friends? Obviously, like it just like they're left a lot to be wanted out of this episode for sure.
Yeah. I just want to say my favorite parts about this episode though was seeing T'Challa's mom fighting, and then also seeing Shuri also still being like very smart, even though she's like 8.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, they did a good job of that. I was like, why is she so much younger? But it makes sense since it's like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
15 in the universe, whatever. But yeah, so where do we want to throw this? D?
D.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike. I think Michael B. Jordan came back. Like, you're great. Nothing against Killmonger. Just the episode.
They should have taken a different route with the episode.
Yeah.
It just seemed very like convenient too, and it's like, oh well, it just like was one of the episodes where like nothing like little changed. It was just like, what if he was here and this at this point? And you're like, all right.
Cool.
Yeah, in my opinion, it just felt like a lazy concept.
Yeah.
Good delivery, lazy concept.
I agree.
So this goes on to episode 7, which I would say is the most out of place episode among the season.
Hey, Justin, you're breaking up a little.
Oh, I was just saying the most out of place episode of the season. What if Thor was an only child? And this one, the stakes
Really? You thought it was out of place?
Yeah, dude.
I could see why you think that.
Well,
I guess the other ones are like dark or whatever, and then this one is like lighter and fun. But I did think it was. I very enjoyed this episode. I loved seeing Captain Marvel versus Thor too.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that was sweet.
Yeah.
If I could equate this episode to any form of media, this just felt like Ferris Bueller's Day Off to me. In all honesty,
That's a good
like
point.
it just like it was so silly. Like especially the end where they're cleaning up like that. I actually genuinely laughed for that. Like when he's like he stops everything. My mom's coming, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" Like they freak out. Like it felt like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where like where he's putting the miles back on the car. And so like it was definitely fun, and I love Jane Foster. Like I am so hyped to see her in the next Thor movie. Really cool character because the comic in the comic books, like she is straight up Thor. Like, and she's not like something that like I when I was on here last time, when I've said it a couple times here, like they in a lot of like these sometimes controversial character changes, typically it's like for a short period of time that like doesn't really stick around. Like the most notorious case of that is where they made the Incredible Hulk, Adamus Cho. Like that was like people weren't really about him, and so they literally just like, okay, it's Bruce Banner now. But Jane Foster as Thor, like that's a really big character, and so I know we're going to be seeing her more in the future, and so to see her in this, it's always fun to see her.
Yeah, and it was Natalie Portman who came back.
I love Natalie Portman.
Yeah, me too.
I liked seeing Darcy too.
Oh,
after seeing her in
WandaVision.
Yeah.
And
seeing Ice Giant Loki. Love that.
That was cool. I did like that.
Yeah, when he was introduced and they were about to fight with him, they're like, "We're cool, let's go."
We're bold.
Just the whole episode just made me like happy.
Oh yeah, it was like when I say out of place, I literally mean it was. I just felt like it was out of place. Like I did not dislike this episode, but it was just like other ones. I wasn't like on the edge of my seat, but I was like invested in watching. And for this one, I think I was just like cooling on the couch, laying back. I think it might have been like something else too. So
that was a good way to walk back your comments. It was.
It's not my least favorite. I'm just saying it was out of place.
I
was-
got you, man.
Yeah, but the very end, it brought it back when Ultron came through that
Yeah.
that portal.
That had me a little shook.
Yeah,
It all starts making sense towards the end of this episode.
Yeah.
Which does go into my favorite one coming up. But before we do that, do we have?
Yeah, it definitely, before we rate it, this whole episode reminded me that Loki is actually blue. And so when he went into the TVA and he couldn't use any magic, how was he not blue? I'm just saying that it reminded me that he's blue. TVA, no magic allowed. How is Loki not blue in the TVA?
Interesting.
Mm.
I'm gonna look at.
Maybe he's just been like that for so long, it just kind of stuck. How about that?
Yeah, that's one you just gotta brush off.
Yeah.
Why'd
Yeah,
you
but
tell us
it's not
that?
even a problem with what if. That's a problem with like the actual canon.
Yeah, MCU. Yeah.
Personally, I say A. I really enjoyed that episode.
I was gonna say
Oh
C.
man.
I was gonna say B, like a mid B.
Man, I would go with the low C D range.
What?
Yeah. I'll go with C because I really liked seeing Captain Marvel in it. I really
Let's put low B.
Man,
Well, no, because if you're A and then Drew voted B and there's two C's, that would put it either here or
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
yeah, but two C's I feel like outweigh.
We don't need a C.
we could use a C.
Let's put it here for
That's
now.
where
Let's put it here for now. Let's see what's up.
man,
We can move it, or we can make
What a
another category called out of place.
we could make one called F.
Yeah.
We can move Killmonger down to that.
All right. On to the next episode, which is episode 8, and my favorite episode. And just because Age of Ultron, I like James Spader as Ultron. I thought it was like a cool movie, but like knowing how powerful Ultron really is, like I feel like this episode really made Ultron way more threatening than he was in Age of Ultron. And I think he's like super like Thanos is like evil, but with like some motives that like make sense. He could just approach it differently. Ultron is just like straight up like humans, all life, like robots. Like I just
This made me think about a conversation I actually had with you, Mike, like a while ago when I was going and doing like the full Marvel rewatch, and where I was like talking about Age of Ultron, and I was like, oh yeah, I haven't seen that in a while, and you were telling me how like in the comics how Ultron's like a way bigger deal, and like it's like a big part of the storyline where like in MCU it just kind of like is a one-off movie type deal almost, and then this made me like think about that, and I was like, oh damn, like this is actually insane.
Dude, yeah, he could have been way tougher. Like it makes sense at what point the MCU was at. They were making their second Avengers movie. They're leading up to Thanos as this big bad. They're like, well, we can't make him a bad guy for more than one movie. And it sucks that they use such a high caliber villain, but they also needed to like keep the momentum alive at that point in the MCU's life cycle. But just seeing how strong he like really is awesome.
He could have been, yeah.
Dude, and like when he tore Thanos in half with the Mind Stone, so fun.
I was like, what?
Yeah,
like
it's sorry, go ahead, BJ.
I was like, that was the only part I was like, wait. Just because you got the jump on Thanos, he just boop, done. Now, I guess because Vision was sidelined the entire Infinity Wars. So
yeah, because he got stabbed one time, dude.
Yeah. So I don't know.
In for Halloween, freaking.
I feel like Marvel has really understood that they dropped the ball when it comes to Ultron. Because like I feel like a lot of people have like they look at Avengers, the first Avengers movie, they look at Infinity War and Endgame, and like they're like perfect, and then people look at Age of Ultron and it's like it just doesn't compare, and that's a real disappointment because Ultron is like one of the coolest villains that you could really, because like there's so much that goes into to what makes him really cool. Like in the comics, like Hank Pym creates him instead of Iron Man.
Mhm.
And like he literally turns the entire planet into just a big giant Ultron. And so there's so much that's really cool about him. And like I think I've seen some rumors that like in the Doctor Strange 2, like Ultron bots are gonna appear in some sort of way. And like I think if they just didn't kill Ultron in Age of Ultron, like there could have been really cool possibilities. And so I just want to see more of him, because it's like seeing Thanos. It's like, imagine if they killed Thanos like in after the first movie, or like it just, there's so much more that could have happened, and Ultron definitely deserved more. So seeing him like just go crazy
Bonkers, yeah.
is really satisfying.
And James Spader, the voice of Ultron, I don't know if he does it in this one. I thought he had like a sick voice for Ultron, and they just kind of like gave him some weird dialogue, but like his
Yeah.
voice was eerie enough. I remember like my favorite line, I think in like all of the Avengers movies, is where Ultron says, "I think you're confusing peace with quiet." One of the coolest things ever. When he's talking to Tony Stark, I remember I was like, "Dude, this is sick." And then they kind of blew his character, but it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Also in that episode, we get a lot of Hawkeye and Black Widow, and the Watchers also. Once Ultron like sees the Watchers like a person, or like perceives him, he's like, "Oh, we need to stop him." And then he's like, "I need to like," he almost like intervened with Black Widow and Jeremy Renner. I was like, wow, it's pretty serious.
Yeah, with Natasha Romanoff and Jeremy Renner, the actor. Yeah, it was cool. Like the way that like the Watcher kind of like is used in the comic books, like the way that I think of whenever he appears in any way, shape, or form, because like you see him doing stuff like a little bit of narration here and there, but like whenever he actually talks to somebody, it's like, okay, this is like big. And they kind of relayed that into this series. Like whenever he talks, like this is a massive threat. And so I thought it made sense.
Wait, was it the Watcher at the end of Age of Ultron or Avengers 1?
I thought it was Guardians or
Stanley.
something like that.
Where Stanley
Like he, I don't remember. Actually, let me pull up because they had a person play him, the Watcher, end credits. Watcher end credits scene. Oh yeah, Stanley was talking to him or something.
Oh, I know what scene you're talking about. Yeah, where he's
when he was on that random planet.
Yeah, that was the Watcher.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I don't know why there's 3 of them, by the way.
So there's more than one?
I don't know. No, there's only supposed to be one. I think that was just a funny little.
I don't even think those were the Watcher. I'm not gonna believe that.
Hanging out on the asteroid.
Yeah,
Right,
they
so
want you.
What are those episodes?
I'll let everyone else vote first.
I was
gonna say high B. I just didn't like the Hawkeye part. I was like, I don't care about Hawkeye.
I'd probably go A.
Yeah, we're gonna do Jeremy Renner, the actor, like that.
And the musician.
And the musician. I would say A.
Yeah, I would say S, but I'll throw A. I have no problem with Hawkeye either. So
yeah, unlike some people.
Yeah, some people just hate Hawkeye. All right. That leads us into the last episode where the Watcher, or what if the Watcher intervenes and he creates his own Guardians of the Universe. And this is where he ties the whole, what I thought was a non-linear series all together. Well, I guess you kind of started finding that in the last couple episodes. But I thought it was going to be more like Visions, where it just kind of, what if this, but then it all tied together. So I'll be interested to see if they do that into season 2. But for this one, the Guardians of the Universe are Only Child Thor, Captain Carter, Killmonger, the one that saved Tony Stark, Gamora from the unreleased episode, and Doctor Strange. Am I missing someone? Oh, and Star-Lord. That's
I think
awesome.
that's about right.
And so
Yeah.
they save the universe in some capacity. It's a spoiler.
This episode was good, but I felt like
That-
it wasn't. It didn't exactly hit it out of the park for me. I don't know. It was
No,
cool.
I totally
like,
agree
you know,
with that.
in the first Avengers, you know, obviously, and I know this is a small series. It was so cool because, you know, we've got these characters together after it's been years of doing their solo movies and blah blah blah. These characters, we cared just a little bit less about them because we haven't, you know, gotten to know them for so long. So when they got together, obviously the concept of that was cool, but we really were just introduced to this threat the episode before, and then like it just like they introduced Vision so late into it. It's like it's either a one-off series or it's a longer story point. It's like I wish that they maybe introduced Vision in some way, shape, or form earlier into the series, because like they just introduced him the episode before. Like why?
Yeah.
Like why do I care? Like I don't understand how much of a threat he is, sort of thing.
And why do these
It-
characters care? You know.
Yeah, like Thor, like he was just like he was being funny about it. But like he was just there for no reason and just goofing around. And
Well, in the end of
I
his
don't know.
episode, he was fighting Ultron bots.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And so
That's-
eventually he was going to invade their multiverses, but I was like fine with this, each episode being its own thing. I didn't
Mhm.
need it all come together. It was like, it was cool in a way, but I was finding
I-
out fan servicey because it's not like fans were like, put it all together. But then I was like, who is this for? I don't.
Yeah, I think they should have.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, they should have put that episode in there, so we got the Tony Stark Gamora. But they should have made it longer. Made it, I don't know, made it so maybe the next season. I don't know. It was just something wasn't melded together. I don't know.
I agree.
Quite right.
There was like I said, like there's a lot. Like in some of these episodes, there's a lot more you can do. There's a lot of different routes that you can go, and so like this I feel like the season finale kind of sums up for how I feel about like the whole series as a whole. Like there was just like different ways that you could have told these stories that I think would have been a lot more interesting. Like I said, like if you introduced like the whole Ultron Vision a little bit earlier, by like at the end of each episode, maybe just show an Ultron bot or something like that, like, or don't show Ultron at all and just do each episode as its own thing. It's just like I wish they would have like picked one or the other and gone with it. And there was like I feel like there was a better way of like, even at the end, even the last episode, like there could have been a cooler way of even just going about that whole team up. I don't know.
And
didn't
Killmonger
quite-
still being evil.
Yeah.
Yeah,
dude.
I know. So boring. And he didn't even do anything cool by being evil. Like he didn't do it. He didn't achieve anything. He just lost the stones.
Like
Like
you
it
put
was
him in
like
a snow globe forever.
Yeah.
I was just like I feel like, I mean, even just as something as small as making Killmonger good could have changed so much for the series.
Yeah.
You could just never tell if they were like, it almost seemed like they couldn't make up their minds if they wanted to play it safe in the series or if they wanted to take risks, because they were like doing both. And it was like every time that they take a risk, they would go back on it and they'd be like, actually, they fixed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going off of Visions, like I thought Visions was awesome. Like they
Mhm.
did not have to have any sort of subplot. It just did. Here's an episode, you're gonna like it. That's it. Take it or leave it.
Mhm.
And if they had just done that with with this, I think I would have been more happy, to be honest. Like
Yeah, I agree.
And
I think
then
they should have done that with this.
yeah, like if they made the Vision episode like an hour long and it
Yeah.
didn't tie into anything,
Yeah.
fine. That would have been cool.
I wish they also brought in somebody from the zombie episode. I know they brought the zombies in to just like deter Ultron a little bit in the last episode, but Maybe
Yeah.
bring in the Spider-Man wearing the cape or someone.
Or no,
Hmm.
Ant-Man. With
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, like
And also, how did none of them get affected, like infected? It just the zombies didn't bite them.
Yeah.
They used Wanda for like a second, and then like it didn't really like do anything. Because when we saw her, I was like, "Oh, here we go." They can
Yeah,
play Wanda, everything, and then they were just like so quick.
but
yeah.
well, I mean, we already saw Ultron like literally kill Captain Marvel, so
That was a little sus.
So how do you guys feel about this episode? Where should we throw it?
see.
I think it's still better than the Thor episode, though.
No,
Mike?
You think you?
I think it
You-
was better than the Thor episode.
Yeah.
are you guys kidding me?
No.
TJ,
No.
well, I don't understand. When did you start liking Thor? So
I really
I've never-
enjoyed the Thor episode.
You're crazy.
You know, that's all you can
Are you
have.
serious?
I respect your opinion. I'm not trying.
The
Oh my god!
I just really enjoyed Kat Dennings in the Thor episode. That was the best part about it. Just to
Mhm.
hear.
Yeah.
She's definitely my favorite actress.
Nice.
So I mean, this is like
Bonk.
a pretty symmetrical.
Bonk.
This is
I follow her
symmetrical,
Instagram.
little chart here. I mean, we can change it, but how do we feel about
Wow. That really looks so symmetrical.
it? It's pleasing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like if you had to restructure things. No, that's how it should look. And if you disagree, you're wrong.
I definitely think it should be different, but whatever. The
Oh,
S rank and D rank are very correct.
You guys want to see how we
Yeah.
did again with like ratings? So
sure, yeah.
Like IGN ratings.
No,
Oh
that's
my
like
God.
IMDb ratings. No,
Okay, good.
So the favorite episode was What If Ultron won, which was my favorite. Just saying. And then it was Doctor Strange. And then after that, it was the finale. And then after that, it is a tie between these two. What if T'Challa became Star-Lord, and what if
Mhm.
the Avengers never happened? And then zombies, then Killmonger, and then what if
No, then
Child?
no, I think it was
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Captain Carter.
Captain Carter. Then
Wow.
Captain Carter got that low? Wow.
yeah, so like we stacked up like kind of similar, but like this one is the worst,
Ooh.
which I'd change it if you guys wanted to. And then yeah, actually our list is pretty different.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, actually, no, it's different.
It's natural.
I don't know. I mean, I stand by a lot of this. Like, let's see. I mean, obviously, like BJ said, S and D are very, very correct. I don't know. Like Thor, like if you like the Thor episode, like I don't know who even liked Thor episode, you know? Like something's wrong. But maybe I missed something, you know?
I don't know. Him versus Captain Marvel. And then
Yeah, that was a good fight scene.
that was
Yeah.
great.
But
And then I just liked the tone.
You like
I'm gonna
the
think of
tone.
it like how we thought of the twins episode. The battle was cool, but how are they breathing in space? How?
I
was-
thought about that
we-
the entire time.
No, oh my god. I literally explained that.
Oh, you like that episode? Okay, well this is just. I forgot about that. Okay,
Man,
never mind.
you
So
like the
are you
twins
okay with
episode?
this is a group.
Yeah.
This is not your list.
Damn. Go make your own list and then we can compare it. I would love to see. Actually, that would be funny.
Yeah, I'll send you guys this
Just-
link and I'll make your own.
Yeah.
So I guess like this is our tier list, but it doesn't mean that the Doctor Strange episode is our favorite Marvel content because the show was good, but these are not the questions I would be asking. I liked the episodes, but this is not exact. The zombies one, you know, out of the box, I liked it. What if the Avengers died? Liked it. Like I liked the question. Like the Ultron one, I loved that episode, my favorite one, but that's not the question I was asking. So
It
Like,
will be
if I-
interesting to see like what how they do season 2,
Hmm.
because it just
Or-
felt like everything's like not done because you can literally do anything,
Hmm.
but I don't know. We'll see what they do.
Yeah. What's gonna happen in season 2, and if they tie any of this back to Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, the way that I think about this is like I said earlier, like this definitely was not my favorite Marvel content that they've put out, even compared to like a lot of like their other shows. And I had high expectations for this, so it didn't really meet that. I think that something you got to understand is like Marvel is going to be releasing, from my understanding from the leaks, a lot of different Disney Plus shows. There's going to be a lot of different like avenues of kind of like how Star Wars is building a universe and doing a lot of world building. It seems like Marvel's really trying to do that too.
Yeah, I
And
saw
so
something that said there's 37 projects in development at different stages of development between now and
Jeez.
like 2026 or something.
Is this
Yes.
just Marvel or Disney or Marvel and Star Wars?
Marvel, just Marvel.
Yeah. So something that you got to take with a grain of salt is not everything is going to be a home run. Not everything is going to be exactly for you. Like I really didn't particularly like this series, but like, maybe for some diehard fan out there, like this was better than Endgame sort of thing, like it's just, it's not for everybody. And I think if this wasn't for you, 36 projects, there's going to be something for you in the future.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good way to put it, because I wasn't expecting this to be like my favorite thing in the world either. Because dude, imagine if you expected every new thing Marvel releasing just be the best thing that ever happened.
Yeah.
That's a lot of expectations. And I was like, it's a show that I would throw on. It's fun. It has like, some concepts, not the questions I would ask, but I did enjoy it. Well, I don't even know if I'll rewatch it, but
Yeah, like this
I'm
isn't
glad
a show that I'm staying up till 3 a.m. to watch, if
Mm.
that makes any sense.
no, I watched
Yeah.
half the season yesterday. That's how invested I was in the show.
Yeah. I think that like I didn't watch each episode for like until 2 days after they came out because I kept forgetting that they came out. Like I watched, episode like 1 and 2 like as they came out, and then after episode 2 I was like, all right, that's enough of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not
Like
waiting for it to drop.
Yeah, like personally, like if I'm comparing this to the 2 Disney series that just came out, Visions and What If, like I think those are pretty comparable. I like Visions a lot better. Personally, like like I've been saying this whole time, is a one-off. The animation for each of the episode was just like absolutely unparalleled. I think the idea, because I'm a big anime fan here as well. And like just the concept of, not even if it wasn't Star Wars related, but just giving each studio the idea of like, okay, just do this concept, like, and seeing what different studios do, I think is really cool. And the concept for What If was just like, was a cool concept that I think Justin said it correctly. Like, these are just not the questions that I feel like a lot of people would really be asking.
Mhm.
So I think that whoever decided to make the What If show should be fired. And they're going to need to leave the country. But other than that, I don't know, 7 out of 10.
What did it get overall on IMDb? Just curious.
Overall, let me see. I think I like an 8. I feel like everything that's on Disney Plus though gets an 8 somehow. Like, no offense to Disney Plus.
Was it IGN that was just like 5 out of 10?
For the last episode.
Oh, I wonder what they gave it like overall.
IGN's
I don't want to know. I don't want to know what IGN
never
said.
makes any sense.
You got a 7.
IGN is they're literally trying to get themselves off the map. Like they don't know what they're doing.
I think they're like trying to have like hot takes and kind of be people like, oh, see what IGN said, which is what we're talking about. So if that's what you're trying to do, you're doing a good job.
Well, if you are listening, which to the listeners who are listening, I want you to know, boycott IGN. Never buy any of their YouTube
Stop.
merch.
BJ sent me an IGN thing on some sort of form of social media, and I was like, not even looking at it. Not gonna.
Oh, it was like Metroid Dread. Apparently, it's really good.
Apparently, it is really good. It's from IGN, dude. And actually, I probably watched that video. Honestly, I'm not gonna get it. It looks cool.
I'm not gonna get
It's
it.
$60 for 9 hours of gameplay. That is This
That's
is like
$20.
$6 a minute, $7 a minute.
Jesus.
On arcade, dude.
God.
Way too much. That's like
Yeah, well, I mean, it was fun while it lasted, but in my opinion, I would be totally fine if there was no What If season 2. I don't think everything needs to have a season 2. Honestly, like just have it be its own thing.
Mhm.
Like if this
Gotta make
was
some money.
if there wasn't a season 2, but they used this to introduce like the Watcher into the MCU, like that's fine. Like just
Yeah.
use this show as just a way to like explain who the Watcher is. Like that's cool with me. I don't really think there needs to be a season 2 of this, personally, but you know, some people also like the Thor episode, so you know.
Each their own.
What if season 2's really good?
If season 2 is really good, then
What if they're asking the right questions?
well, you know what? They didn't ask the right ones this time, so why should I have faith, right? Or hope?
What if
That's
you
called the
Yeah.
multiverse. Anything can happen.
I hope that the Spider-Man and Doctor Strange movies do a better job of exploring the multiverse.
I mean,
'Cause there's
Loki
a-
already has.
Oh yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. Honestly,
I have a question for you, Mike. Outside of
Uh,
What If, two questions actually. Do you think the newest Spider-Man movie will be the biggest Marvel movie, like including Sony's movies, whatever, like the biggest comic book movie of all time? And what do you think of Will Poulter from We're the Millers being cast as Adam Warlock?
oh yeah, I do have something to say about that. Not necessarily bad. What was the first question? I'm sorry, I was
Do you
listening.
think
but I got-
Spider-Man Far From
yeah.
No Way Home will be the biggest Marvel movie?
I
No way.
think that movie has been given the craziest expectations to live up to. If literally, okay, so think about it. What do you think is gonna happen? You know, everybody wants all three Spider-Man. They want every single villain from every Spider-Man movie that's ever existed. They
Everyone
want
just
Dr.
wants
Matt
six.
Murdock,
They want Gwen
Everyone
Stacy.
Daredevil.
They want Ben Affleck Daredevil. Like
Charlie Cox, Daredevil.
there's so like the expectations for this movie is so incredibly high. Like obviously I want them to meet the expectations, but do not be surprised if they don't hit every bullet point that everybody's asking
Oh
for.
yeah, there's no way. Like
Yeah.
If Daredevil's
my
not in it,
man
it's
who
gonna be
really
the
likes
worst movie
Thor as
ever.
an only child is gonna be so disappointed.
Oh man,
He
I don't
thinks
even think so.
Mephisto's in it.
I don't even think that
Let's go
person
eat
exists.
them.
I don't think anybody liked the Thor episode.
Oh my god.
But this definitely has the possibility, like in my opinion, like when I first like, because at this point I'm like super hyped for Spider-Man No Way Home. Obviously, like it's, you know, all three Spider-Man, possibility of them being in there, like it's super hyped. But then, you know, months go by and they didn't release the trailer for a while, and now I'm just nervous because you really think about what could happen. And like take Spider-Man 3 from Sam Raimi, the whole issue with I love the Raimi universe, but like the whole issue with that movie was like they tried to do like 3 villains and it just like didn't make a lot of sense.
They didn't
And
flesh
how
out any of them.
what was
Except
that?
for Sandman. Sandman was like the coolest villain, but like Venom.
Yeah,
I mean, freaking Topher Grace.
yeah, that was
Venom?
that was, Eddie Brock for that was a weird casting, but like how many villains are supposed to be in here? Like six villains. That's
Specifically.
two times
That's
than
2 for
what
Spider-Man.
ruined.
If all 3 make it.
Like obviously they're dealing with like the movie is going to deal with the top level multiverse sort of issue, so like I don't know how much screen time each character or villain is going to be getting, but like I don't know what the end result of like this movie is going to be, and that's what's I think really exciting. I think this easily, if it does meet the expectations, could be in my opinion better than Endgame, because I like what the way I got in the comic books. I'm just a lifelong Spider-Man fan. Like he's hands down my favorite superhero. And so if they go all out for this, which I think they're going to, I think this could be the best. And for the second question, what's the actor's name again?
Actually, let's before we get to that question, I want to hear what Drew and BJ think too.
Oh,
Yeah,
true.
I think that like exactly, Mike, you hit the nail on the head. Like there's and this happens with all so many Marvel movies, right? Where and like shows too. Like this is what WandaVision ran into. This is what like a bunch of stuff happens is the hype. Like how can you live up to like all this hype? You know, like and good point with the Spider-Man 3 2 thing. It's like when the movie becomes too convoluted, it doesn't matter if it's like 2 hours and like I don't know, let's say it's 2.5 hours, 2 hours 45 minutes. Like, how are you gonna address everything and make everything feel like you got enough out of it? Because like you can have that on like either side of the spectrum. You can have everything, but be like, oh, it wasn't fleshed out enough. Kind of like how people in Endgame were like, oh, we didn't get like everybody's reunion that we wanted. We didn't get like Hope and like Ant-Man like their reunion very well, like all this stuff. And it's like there's only so many minutes of screen time available. And on the other side, it's like maybe or they just flush out everything that would make it like it would make sense if you weren't like looking at everything every day and like believing every like every single rumor that they're talking about.
Yeah,
So-
honestly, the WandaVision hype, like all the
Mephisto.
going around, honestly made me stop looking at the speculation. Like that was the one. Like I remember after Star Wars, I was like, wow, I'll probably still keep doing it, even though I'm disappointed with how it turned out. But after the
Yeah.
WandaVision one, I didn't even pay attention to WandaVision one. I never thought like Mephisto once was like gonna come in that show or anything, just because so many people were talking about it. But like imagine being like the creator of a show, and people are like, dude, all 3 Spider-Man are gonna be in there, like blah blah blah. Like,
Yeah.
He's like, why did I think of that?
I have like 3 more months
Yeah.
of like just like having a good life until I'm just absolutely trolled off Earth because I mean it's just not going to be great if all 3 Spider-Man aren't in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the movie is not gonna be like obviously if it's just Tom Holland, Peter Parker, like that's cool. But the fan base is if they're not in there, if the 3 Spider-Man aren't in there, the fan base is gonna be what killed that movie, not the director, not MCU.
Yeah.
Like the fan base is gonna be the one that did that, and I think that that's on us. Like I found myself, I was literally watching an hour-long analysis of like the what was it? What's his name? It was a set. It's from the Amazing Spider-Man, whatever actor, Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield. Yeah, there we go. I was watching an like an hour-long analysis of if the video or the picture of him on the blue screen was Photoshop or not, and I was like 20 minutes. I was 20 minutes into it. I was, huh?
What?
The Corridor Digital one. I remember. I think I sent that to Drew. Or Drew, you watched it too.
The VFX artist that we're looking at it, Mike, is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah. I was just like, I started watching it. I was just like, I don't even care. I don't like if it's real, it's real. If it's not, like it's just it's not gonna me knowing. It's not gonna change the movie. Like you just gotta wait. Like I feel like I'm getting burnt out of like all these. Also, a lot of these people don't understand like what makes like a good villain or like if this villain would make sense in this movie. And so like some of these theories, I hate them. I just really hate them. And so like that's a personal thing. So it's just I feel like I get burnt out of hearing some of these things. So just stop, watch the movie. It's not going to change.
Yeah, very
If
true.
I don't see Daredevil, I'm gonna be so upset.
I hope Ben Affleck. just
Matt
makes a
Murdock at
cameo.
least should be his lawyer, and that's all. That's it.
Oh
I
my
don't care
God, I forgot
don't
about
care
that.
anyone.
That would be
Yeah.
really fun.
Everything.
That's all I care.
I actually have a theory. If Tobey Maguire isn't in the movie, but he's in a post-credit scene, they filmed that within the last 5 months. And they're
Oh,
like,
for
we need
sure.
to
Oh, yeah.
post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Because we don't want,
Yeah.
I don't know who's directing it. We don't want him to be dead tomorrow. So, hey, so
That's a good
Marvel
point.
fans, don't Star Wars it. You know,
Yes.
that's like,
Yeah.
let's keep it good.
And the last question was, what do you think about the Adam Warlock thing?
With Will Poulter.
Will Poulter.
I just
let's
sent a picture to the group.
take a look.
He's the kid from We Are the Millers.
Oh my gosh,
He was also a little baby in Voyage of the Dawn Shredder.
he looks awesome in this. That's like, which is just so funny. because like you get actors who get one role and it changes their career so significantly. Obviously, they're a bit of a gamble, but like you know who I really wanted for this role, and I saw like this was very early on, like fan casting. Zac Efron would have been.
Oh, I heard about.
Oh yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that.
There was a lot of talk about Zac Efron doing this and the fan casting. Like he would have been an easy pick for this, which is I think he probably would have killed it. But this is more of like they're gonna take the gamble, see how this guy does. Whenever I see him, I think of what is it? We're the Millers or something?
We're the Millers. He's also in the
When his
Revenant.
balls are swollen by the spider.
Yeah, so he's
Oh,
swinging.
yeah.
He's singing "Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls."
Yeah.
But also
Yeah,
that
that's
was like 10 years ago.
Yeah. At the same
Yeah.
time, like, but you know what though? Like, I'm a guy who like I'm not a big movie fanatic, and I feel like most people in the world aren't. And like what comes to my mind when I think of him is him singing "Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls" in an RV with Jason Sudeikis, not Adam Warlock. So I think they definitely took a gamble with this, and like going off of the picture you sent me, like he looks handsome as hell, and I don't remember him. I don't remember him looking like that at all. Like
Yeah.
so, and Adam Warlock is a good-looking dude. So if
He was
can
in
make
the
this
Revenant too, and he had like a significant role, if you remember.
the Revenant,
Yeah,
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Western with Leonardo DiCaprio.
I don't even think I watched that.
Which,
That was like his
really cold.
only other like
Oh.
bigger role.
Yeah, I didn't see that. So maybe if I saw that, my opinion would have changed.
So,
But he
Oh
might
yeah,
kill it.
Leonardo DiCaprio gets like beaten by that bear.
Oh, the Revenant.
movie.
Oh, I don't even remember that movie. I saw it, but I don't even remember.
Drew saw in
Um,
theaters at 11 a.m.
Interesting situation.
Alone.
But I feel like this could be like Tom Krasinski's what's the word? Or what was that movie? Where he went to war, he had a beard, he was with
John Krasinski in 13 Hours or whatever.
13 hours. Like
Oh,
yeah, like this could totally like I feel like 13 hours totally changed John Krasinski's career. He was able to do, A Quiet Place, and it would make sense. Like if John Krasinski went from The Office to A Quiet Place, I would have been like, what's going on here?
Well, just think of Chris Pratt from Parks and Rec as Star-Lord.
Yeah, it's
And
another
now
one.
he's in Jurassic World. Now he's Mario, and he's
Yeah.
the Lego voice actor. I mean, his career like skyrocketed.
Yeah, Marvel's definitely changing careers out here. So
Yeah.
and it's worked. It's worked every single time. Like I can't remember like a really, really bad casting that Marvel has done. Can you
This
guys
is gonna
think?
blow your mind. So he was rumored to be Elrond in the new Lord of the Rings Amazon series that is already confirmed for 6 seasons.
What?
That's confirmed
Yeah.
for 6 seasons.
Yeah, it did.
Wait, what was it?
So the Lord of the Rings series coming out, he was going to play
Yeah.
Elrond, who was like one of the main elves in Lord of the Rings, and he was played by forgetting his name, Agent Smith or Red Skull in Captain America.
Oh,
Hugo
yeah.
Weaving. He was played by Hugo Weaving in Lord of the Rings, and he was going to be Elrond, but he turned it down to be Adam Warlock.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. So I
That's
mean, I feel like there's
big.
like good things. Like obviously Marvel will propel your career in a different way.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know which series I'd rather be in. Would it be Lord of the Rings or Marvel? And that one's confirmed for 6 seasons. And you know
projects
Elrond
that
makes
he
it to
can
the
do in
end,
Marvel.
so it's not like a money thing. So it's just like he feels that inspired, I guess, by James Gunn's Guardians movie coming out. So
Damn, I didn't know that. That's really cool. Yeah, I think he's gonna kill it. Like I view him as a little kid, not a little kid, but I view him as like we're the Millers guy. But like I said, I used to think of John Krasinski as Jim Halpert, and now I think of him as a kind of a badass. And same for Chris Pratt. Like a lot of they haven't missed yet, so let's keep it coming.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, next they're gonna have Mr. Bean as Thanos.
and we're gonna be like, dude, Thanos was sick.
Yeah, we're gonna love it.
He's
But
old.
yeah.
Fun fact.
Cool.
Well,
Well, again, Mike, thanks for coming on and again talking with us about some Marvel / like comic book stuff. I think to kind of like wrap up our thoughts on it, like would you say that lukewarm is probably a good way to describe how we felt about What If in general?
I would go cold.
Cold.
I'd go a little more than lukewarm.
I bet you like the Thor episode.
Yeah, I would say it's like you're coming back from a road trip. You're excited to eat a really good meal, but you just end up stopping at like McDonald's or something. You know, you're like, oh,
That sucks.
could have gotten something.
That
better.
is actually a weirdly accurate analogy.
It's like I'm happy. I'm like, dude, I got McDonald's. I love, McDouble's sick. Also, this episode's sponsored by McDonald's. We're loving it.
No, it's not.
Legal disclaimer.
I would have much rather had like Taco Bamba or
Ooh.
but like I had, just McDonald's and it was good, but it's
Yeah.
not what I needed. It's not even what I wanted, but I had it. So yeah.
It's not the question that you asked for.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was stupid.
Okay.
Well, we'll definitely be keeping everybody up to date with like if we hear anything about when season 2 might happen or anything that goes along with that. But for this week, thanks again for listening. You know where you can find us on Instagram, Bad Batch Podcast on Instagram and YouTube, and then Bad Batch Pod on Twitter. Again, Mike, thanks for coming on. So it's fun Marvel time.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me. And listeners, come check out my actual Star Wars podcast. It's called The Good Batch. Episodes come out every Thursday at 8 a.m. So if you guys don't like what's going on with the Bad Batch, just come over to what's actually on the Good Batch, hence the name. But yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, guys. Peace.
Bye.